Good day, folks, and welcome to review number 2. Recently, I had the chance of picking up the Wave 1 Voyagers of the Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise line, or PurdueAV as it's become to be known. Today we're going to take a look at the Optimus Prime. Let's start off by looking at the packaging. As you can see, Optimus is displayed in his robot mode inside the packaging, with his weapons prominently displayed. Now this has to do with the gimmick feature, as these weapons have a light feature, as you can see. The back of the box has your pretty standard artwork, showing the robot mode and the alternate mode, as well as some artwork advertising Transformers Prime and a sticker advertising the Hub Network. On the side, you have a brief little paragraph talking about Optimus and the typical tech stats. One thing that's interesting is it mentions how Optimus has modified himself to become the Ultimate Warrior. Another interesting feature on the box is the fact that they're numbering these. So Optimus here is Series 1001. The robot mode of the figure is very poseable. It's got all of the joints we've come to get used to in modern Transformers, with thigh swivels, bicep swivels, ball-jointed ankles, ball-jointed head, everything that's become pretty standard in modern action figures. I am a little bit disappointed in paint application, though. He has this big gray chest, and if you've seen the character model from the show, you know he's got a lot more red in his chest. So this big block of gray plastic needs a little bit of red to break it up. Prime does have a little bit of back kibble with these big red panels on the back, which some have kind of dubbed his Superman cape, which, given what he's been capable of in the show so far, doesn't seem too far off. Now, this line has a gimmick with it, which is pretty similar to the mech tech weapons we saw during Dark of the Moon. Except this time, there's a built-in LED, which is kind of cool, except for the fact that the mech tech weapon is just like the deluxes from Dark of the Moon in that it doesn't lock into place. So, unless you have your thumb on it, you've just got this big chunk of plastic hanging off his arm. The other part of this gimmick is that the clear plastic in his arm is supposed to allow the light to shine down through it. While it does this to an extent, it's not that dramatic of an effect. The other weapon he comes with is this sword, which I do have to say is much better than a lot of the swords we've gotten recently. This sword is fairly stiff plastic, so it's not going to bend or flop around like a lot of the swords we've gotten with figures in the previous years. Now let's take a look at the transformation. If you are any kind of Transformers collector, you've probably transformed an Optimus Prime toy at some point. If so, then you won't be too surprised with the transformation sequence of this toy, especially if you are familiar with the movie line Primes. Everything about this transformation is pretty straightforward. It took me very little time at all to master the transformation of this toy. In fact, for a Voyager price point, I think it may actually be a little too simple. As for the actual process of transforming the toy, everything on my toy fit into place very nicely with no issues of loose or tight-fitting tabs. The only complaint I have is that when you tab the legs into the arm pieces to form the aft end of the truck, the legs can be slightly twisted, but yet they will still tab into place. This creates an uneven truck mode, but you can easily correct this by simply twisting the legs into a level position. The truck mode comes out pretty clean, with the panels all snapping together nicely, leaving very few gaps. The one exception, of course, is the back, which we've seen a lot with other other truck or Prime toys where this area in the back is left open. But I think that could be solved if and when we eventually see a trailer for this, as there is a port back here, although this is shown to be weapon storage in the instructions. It is something that could very easily be used to install a trailer at some point in the future. This mold could have been a very good fit with the existing Transformers Prime toy line. Unfortunately, the lack of some much-needed paint applications and the inclusion of the lighted weapon gimmick end up dragging this toy down. If they decide to do a repaint down the road without the translucent plastic bits, this mold has some definite potential. However, as of right now, I would only classify this as a good toy and not a great one.